Do you suffer from fatigue, lack of focus? Is your floor covered with dirty clothes, crinkled candy wrappers, and empty cans of Foster's? If your answer is yes to any of these questions, then Turbo Dust is for you. Turbo Dust is a revolutionary new wellness dust that provides a smooth, sustained increase in wakefulness, cognition, and motor function. Our patented dust technology is administered through the sinus, delivering turbo dust to the bloodstream, producing the euphoric feeling of inspiration. There's no finer dust available today, and our dust is made from 100% organic, all-natural dust, so you can be sure that you're getting the absolute dustiest dust the world has to offer. Turbo Dust. It's dust. Dust. Side effects may include dust lung, dusty stools, and dust ache. Brought to you by Chalk Dinosaur, paid for by the Dust Council of Dust Affairs.
Good afternoon. Welcome to episode 10 of the Chalk Dinosaur podcast. On today's episode, I've got a guest by the name of Sean Howard. Now, I met Sean back in 2016 at a festival called FarmJammaLamma. You probably heard all about it. You might have even listened to the album that festival inspired, entitled Chalk Dinosaur and Friends. Sean ran sound and assisted with lights, just all the production stuff at the festival. And I've gotten to see him and his band, the Sean Howard Orchestra, perform at Farm Jam. And I've also run into Sean numerous other times at different musical events. And I was interested in hearing about his live sound background, doing live sound at shows, doing lights, doing that stuff. Also curious about this studio that he's working on. He's got a space, and he's building out a studio. And just here to talk to him about everything he does and everything he's done, and just talk about music and all that stuff. So here he is, Sean Howard. This is Sean Howard. He's guest. This is episode 10. And
10.
Yeah, here in Knoll, PA, at a studio project that he's building. I'm gonna stop talking to the camera now. I had some kind of intro later, but so for the people that don't know you, I'll say, I know Sean from FarmJammaLamma. He's doing sound, and he's done sound at a few other events. So, how'd you get started doing live sound?
Let's see. I'd say everything started back around 2007-ish with the Brown Hotel in Indiana, PA. I was offered a good job by my uncle to come down and work door, and he was like, "You have to get here in like a half hour." So I was like, "Fine, yeah, it sounds awesome." So I come down and get the job, working door at the Brown Hotel, and Glenn Struther and Clinton Clegg are playing acoustic. Glenn Struther's with Glenn Struther Project, and Clinton Clegg now Common Heart. Then they were known as a band called Jazam, which
Nice.
I think was a big inspiration in a lot of people in my music family circuit to get to where we are today. So during those days, they inspired me to learn the business, and over time I ended up taking over a festival that was originally called Waterfall Jam, then was known as Party in the Hills, which I took into my own version of Party on the Stone. So the first event that I ran, that I worked at all, was a festival called Party on the Stone. And the second year of that festival, the Gollier family from FarmJammaLamma came to that festival, and that's where the combination came of, I would say, us and Farm Jam.
Nice.
And then 2 years into Farm Jam, I was working with John Riley, who was the drummer of Jazam, with Kevin Gollier, running sound just on the fly, kind of in our own way. And from there, it progressed into what I'm doing today.
Wow. That's pretty sweet. I didn't realize what the connections were there.
Yeah, it's been about almost 12 years.
Cool. So how did were you like apprenticing under like the guy at the Brown Hotel? Is he the one that, where you kind of learned how to do that stuff? Or
the Brown was more just the start. It was a dive bar, but it was very known for live music. But it was, at that time, it was a venue where you would bring in your own PA. So all the bands were running their own sound, and I would, hey, what's going on, and like try to watch things. But I would say the beginning time of the Brown, I was more of just an observer and taking things on, watching different sound guys come in and do different things for different bands.
Yeah.
When it got into FarmJammaLamma, that's when I was really getting under the apprenticeship, I'd say, with John Riley, where he was showing me what we were doing.
Yeah.
Even though we were all kind of like, we were our own little military, you know, like we were all, none of us really knew. John knew what he was doing with live sound for sure. But on that scale, like me and Kevin were just following him all the time.
Yeah.
And then from there, I started getting more comfortable with running my own board. And
Nice.
when Shazam got done, they started a band called Digital, and they brought me on as a production assistant. Kind of a member of the band, but doing sound and lights. You know, so during that time is where I really started getting into it. And we might as well just keep going on the timeline from there. Ben Fenegar with the Rex, he brought me on as an assistant to the whole venue and for Gray Area Productions.
I didn't know that.
And then I guess my first professional live sound was an event at the Rex Theater. You know.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it just kept going from there.
Interesting. So how long were you at the Rex?
I worked for Ben and those guys, Scott, for I think 2 years, 2 or 3 years, and then I still come in there, you know, time to time, helping out and stuff. But,
what years was that?
2012-ish maybe. It was,
Okay,
you know,
so that was like way before
I remember
me.
Chamba and Shorty had the first sellout. So whatever sellout for the Rex, whatever year that was, it was that year.
Nice. That's cool. So what'd you do this summer?
This summer is so right now I would say it's what I'm doing is freelance sound work, but I go under a label of Soundbar Productions.
Okay.
But I represent companies like Lazy Ass Productions, which runs Glades Festival Ground, FarmJammaLamma. I did Garefest. I've done my own weddings. You know, this summer was the second summer in a row that I worked every weekend from May until October.
Oh wow, just events.
Just events. It went because anywhere from, like I said, a wedding, doing a festival. I did 2 corporate events for Joe Bad. Did one at the Ace Hotel and then one in Deep Creek. You know, so the summertime. I mean, it's you know how it is. You start the summer and you're just like, here we go. But
that is the feeling I got this year.
Yeah, and you just roll with it.
Yeah. So for those kind of things, are you bringing PA, or are you coming into? I guess I know with Farm Jam, you're coming in with. Well, I'm not sure what you bring to each event, but
Farm Jam has its own built-in rig. They do the quadraphonic sound, which is something that's different than a lot of venues. Most festivals, you bring your own speakers, you bring your own PA, you bring your own board, mics, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Farm Jam kind of has a different mentality, I think, with sound, where it's
like a listening environment.
It's a listening
more
environment.
Like I love that environment.
Yeah, we get a lot of complaints that you don't get monitors, but the way the venue's set up in the barn, the monitors are the mains, you know.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's a fun rule that you can't bring any speakers to Farm Jam because Kevin has what he wants there. So we build off that. You know, like I'll bring I run a Allen & Heath Q32 digital mixing system, digital board. I'll bring that, you know, and I'll supplement mics and mic stands and cables and things like that.
Yeah.
You know.
So, how does that work with feedback?
I guess that's where it comes into knowing how to run a sound system when the speakers are that close to microphones.
Yeah, because I know that if speakers pointed at the mic, that's dangerous, or has a higher chance for feedback. But it's never seemed to be a problem. Yeah,
well, we set the system up into 4 mixes basically. So if we have say you're coming into the barn and you're looking out that way from the drum riser and you're on stage left side and there's a speaker right in front of you, you got to keep that down when they're not singing, or like be very aware of what's going on.
Oh wow.
Or run it at more of a low gain, but more of a volume. So that's, it's kind of like a water faucet. If you have a whole bunch of water coming in, you just let a little bit of it out, it's going to come gushing out.
Yeah.
But if you have a smaller amount coming in, and you open the faucet a whole lot more, it's going to be it won't be as much of a signal to that microphone.
Yeah.
It's been 10 years of science of really trying to figure it out.
Yeah, it's definitely unique. That's a really cool. I love the way it sounds there. My favorite spot's by that subwoofer in the back, by the couch, like right behind the drum riser. That's like my favorite spot to be because you're getting all the highs, but they're not like directly. It's never like painful or anything.
Yeah.
But it's loud and you can hear it, and then you got like all that thump from that giant stack that they have back there now.
That's 2 years in a row now. That's Impact Audio has provided those subs to us. 2 pairs of pairs. So basically it's 2 subs, but a subwoofer is considered a pair.
Oh, okay.
So if you say you have a sub and you only have 118, you actually have half of a sub. This is the assistant Brian Hemmick from Cosmic Colors. He's the one that teaches me this kind of stuff with like more professional gear, and with the growth of my career. But those are 21-inch subs, so it's basically 4 single 21-inch subs, which is 2 21-inch subs. Those things pound. You can hear them on top of the hill.
That's like where I need to be for any band with a killer rhythm section.
Yep.
Starship on there.
It's the rumble.
What was your connection, like relationship with Big B, Brian?
Big B has been by far probably the top inspiration of all live production that I do. When I was working with digital, that's when I was still learning how to do stage lighting. And I'm a big fan of stage lighting. I think what probably interests me the most out of everything with live production, just because the visual of a show can change the entire feeling of a performance.
Yeah, 100%.
And we were doing a CD release for digital at the Rex, and John Riley got a hold of Big B to come in and help us do some of the lighting, because he had his own gear, and he was part of a different scene that digital was trying to get into at that time. With more like the EDM and rave scene was where Big B was, where we were still in like the jazz funk scene, but we wanted to combine those with what they were doing with digital. So we brought Big B on, and our first show at the Rex, we both had our own lighting controller, so we were just getting to know each other, and I'd be like, go to all red now, and he'd be like, hit the button and go to red, and like we're just like feeding off each other. And then that's whenever, right after that was Party on the Stone 3, I want to say.
Where was that again?
Party on the Stone was in Rochester Mills outside of IUP.
Okay.
So it was about 10 minutes north of IUP, towards Punxsutawney and DuBois. And after he ran, he brought his whole rig for our lighting for Party on the Stone, and then we started working together after that.
Nice.
I started working raves with them. We started getting gigs with bands, and then eventually we took on a project in Indiana called the Indiana Theater, and then we worked in there for a couple years. And he's Big B's he's starting another phase of Cosmic Colors now with a whole professional lighting rig that he purchased. If you were at Farm Jam I know you were, but if anybody listening was at Farm Jam last year, that was his new rig. It's like,
nice.
There's going to be a lot coming from Big B.
Yeah, he lives in Washington now?
He's in the state of Washington, yeah. And Big B brings a different element to what live musicians think sometimes. I think like when you are in a band and you're trying to get gigs and you're trying to get booked, you kind of just sell yourself. You sell the band. You're like, this is what we're going to come in and do. And what he's trying to do now is to like change that with mentality of bands, is where like they need to come in with sound and come in with lights.
Yeah.
Even if like they need lights all together, like the venue doesn't have any lights at all, that should come from the band, teamed up with Big B, or even if they have lights and they have an engineer, like being able to come in and plug into the lights, because the engineer will know the band, so like he'll be able to know when to do the changes and like how to make it more, the emotion of it more real almost, you know what I mean? And like,
yeah, definitely. Yeah, I've had a few conversations with him about that, and that's a great. That's like such a more professional approach.
Yeah.
Than like the general mentality of how I've been approaching, which is like whatever's there, like that's what we got, and like.
Yeah. Well, no one thinks about it. You know what I mean? I mean, it's not something that you would normally think about on your own. And like, I think, I've been kind of coming on as a booking agent or like an assistant for Cosmic Colors, because what Big B brings to the table is just, I think, one of the most important elements of a show. And that's what I've learned from Big B.
Sound and lights,
yeah.
Just creating the whole package, just elevating the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. I enjoy talking to him every year at Farm Jam.
Yeah.
So like, what do you know what his plan is with that company?
Yeah, I mean, like right now, I think he's trying to find different acts to work with the band, you know what I mean? And like looking for bands to come on to hire him or the company Cosmic Colors to be a part of that scene, you know what I mean? So that, like, kind of how I said it at first, like when you do get gigs, working with a company like Cosmic Colors or something like that will help you get better gigs. You know what I mean?
You got production.
You have production, and you're going to show, and you're going to help the venue as well as the band, as well as the fans, So I think right now, like Big B's in a space where he wants to get more exposure on what it is that he's trying to do, and like and work off what I was just talking about.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to call him up again. We've talked about possibly doing something, on the out where he lives, and but we talked on the phone about it, and then just hasn't come up again.
Yeah,
just busy with other stuff, and never kind of. I
would be lying if I would say we weren't talking about you before this podcast. So, and everybody, I think the thing about what he's trying to do is to be able to be affordable for up and coming acts too. You know what I mean?
That's something
to not just be, like his rig. I mean, he could charge an arm and a leg for it. You know what I mean? But he wants to be available for, I don't want to use the term the little guys, but like the ones.
Oh yeah, that's probably one of the main reasons why people don't even consider that, because they don't, they feel like they're on tight enough budget, not making enough. But after talking to him, he was like, well, if you have production, you can charge more for a show, and also made it clear, like for bands or artists that I'd like, I just want to come out even early on. Like I don't I don't have any problem with that. But he was really interested in working with an artist, knowing their songs and being able to react. Because if it's a great idea of having the sound and lights, being in the band.
Yeah.
So they know what's happening, and they can enhance the mood and the sound, make sure everything that needs to be heard can be heard. And
I mean, I think to find somebody like Big B, and like us as a duo, for example, with like me as sound and him as lights, he's willing to be on the building block of it. So like you can't have an expectation to run out of the gate and just be on top of the game, making all this money, getting all the exposure that you think you deserve. I mean, it's a building process, and it's like it takes years to like really get a good project going off the ground.
Yeah.
It's rare to find somebody like Big B that's willing to stay affordable in the beginning, but he also, like, I think the expectation this should go with the whole industry is that everyone's going to jump on board and do everything they can to build it up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And look long term sometimes.
Right. Yeah. He's passionate about the artistry of it and just building it up. Cause like if he's got that kind of equipment, I'm sure he could make more money doing corporate gigs or something, like off the bat or something. But being able to kind of work with an artist that's another level of, and all the mega bands seem to have that.
Yeah.
They've connected with somebody that likes what they're doing, and they like what they're doing, and they, they're just part of the deal.
Yeah. Then they go.
Yep. Check. So, all right. So that's your live sound stuff. What's your you have like a vision for what you want to do with live sound, or I guess with music in general, because you do live sound, you play in the Sean Howard Orchestra, and you're working on the studio, so you got a couple avenues.
If anybody knows Sean Howard, they know that I always have way too much going on. And I think as I get older in the scene, I'm starting to consolidate that and trying to figure out exactly which direction I do want to go.
Yeah, it's hard.
But
it's the same thing.
I do it every year. I always think I have a plan, and then it, like I said, it gets to be that May date, and the summer starts, and then it's just just kind of roll with it. You know what I mean? I think I have a label with Soundbar Productions for my own thing. I think eventually that will be the direction I go. As far as like the retirement plan of what it is that I do. But right now I'm just a part of so many different things that I'm still kind of open minded and just kind of going with the flow with a lot of things.
Just kind of seeing whatever kind of moves ahead in terms of your what kind of makes the most sense to put more time into. Yeah,
I'm really proud of the last couple of summers. I was busy every weekend, but everything that I did was fulfilling. I was happy doing everything I was doing the last couple of summers.
That's good. That's definitely a big deal, because I'm just not being able to be a little more selective with what you do.
Yeah. And I think as of right now, if I get booked by everybody that booked me the last couple of years, I think I would be happy doing that for a little while,
Yeah.
But just make them better.
Yeah.
looking at getting new gear. There's always the never-ending want for new things.
Yeah. Black Friday coming right up.
It's coming. So I think this, this winter I moved to Ohio Pal State Park and actually took a kitchen job at Fall City Pub. And
it's a cool place.
First time in like 3 or 4 years that I've done the full-time job thing. So I'm kind of taking a winter, just slowing down and resting and, getting healthy and, been mountain biking every day and stuff like that. And then get back into the summertime. And I think like once everything gets going in motion, look at next year.
Yeah. Okay. So you work seasonally, and then in the summers you do all your audio stuff, and then in the winter. So are you still going to keep the kitchen job during summer?
That's the plan. Yeah. I worked towards the end of the summer. I worked for Fall City Pub, and they gave me every weekend off. And we've been, this winter, it was kind of the deal. It was like, if you give me the weekends off now, I'll work weekends over the summer, which is a great deal. They, I eat food and drink for free. I get paid pretty well, and they gave me a room in their guide house for $100 a month.
Oh, damn!
So I can walk to work back and forth, and I'm in Ohio Pal State Park. It's like
that's awesome.
It's a nice package,
I'm always so curious about that. Like, how do people make ends meet that are doing this kind of stuff? Because that's a big struggle to figure out how to do that with the flexibility, because the flexibility is so high in value for people that are trying to do any kind of music thing.
I think that's a big thing that you need to figure out, and like that's kind of I've taken on after the Brown Hotel and Indiana Theater and a bunch of different projects. I'm definitely I was not in a financial situation that was sustainable, and that's kind of why I had to take this job, take a break, and like start catching up, and so that when the busy season does come again, I'm not saying like, oh man, like I'm not ready, I think as you mature and get older in this industry, you have to figure out how to do that. Everybody wants to be the full-time musician. Everybody wants to get out there and just do it all the time. But, unless you're selling CDs or you got a sponsorship or, or there's something that's coming in to solidify that income, it's nature that you have to figure that out,
Yeah, that is the big question.
Yeah. So right now it's kind of catching up, and with all these options on the table, I mean, I might go and do a lot of stuff with Big B too. It's like you can't really decide what it is you're going to do. You have to go with the flow, and as things develop, when you get opportunities in front of you, just make the right decision.
Yeah.
Which everybody learns that as they go.
Yeah. Sounds like, have you been to Big B's?
I was there, so I'm going back in December. I go probably 3 or 4 times. I went out to see him out west now. But I go out every Christmas time, so we'll ski Mount Baker on Christmas Day.
That's awesome.
We did it last year. Yeah, I'll have to send you a picture of the 3 of us. You can put on
it sounds. It sounds like he lives a nice life.
Yeah, yeah.
Doing focus on the things he wants, doing a lot of outdoor stuff, pursuing passion projects.
Yeah. Married. And doing that thing too. Yeah.
Doing that thing. Are you doing that thing?
I'm not doing that thing.
Okay.
No. Maybe. I'm eligible, let's put it that way.
Yeah, so what about we'll talk about Sean Howard Orchestra next.
Yeah. Sean Howard, what do you want to know about the Sean Howard Orchestra? Let's start there.
Tell me a little bit of the history of it.
Sure. In 2016, me and Chris Moretti, we were mutual friends at the Brown Hotel, and we had a lot of loss at the time. Like we both lost a really good friend. I lost some family, and we were kind of down and out. But before our friend Denise passed away, she said that me and Chris Moretti need to be making music together. So me, him, and Travis Keir, which were all, Brown Hotel people, we were jamming a lot. And we got an opportunity from Pierce Murata with Gray Area to open up for Boyd Tinsley and Crystal Garden at James Street. And I mean, we were barely even playing, we're still catching up and like just trying to figure some things out.
Yeah.
And I'm always a go-getter, so I was like, yeah, we'll do it. And that was our first big gig that got us the prep for what was to be known as the Sean Howard Orchestra. I think we were calling ourselves Disco Melon, or different. We had a bunch of different names at the beginning.
Yeah.
And then Bernie Worrell died, and then I remember I was working a sound gig in Johnstown for the Thunder in the Valley. I was doing one of the stages for Thunder in the Valley, and I immediately was like, we had Bernie Worrell at the Indiana Theater twice, so he was a big inspiration, and I think at that time I was like, I think we need to name the band the Sean Howard Orchestra, and Chris Moretti he was all about it. There was never like animosity about there being a name on the project or anything like that.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it just flew, like fast forward to where we are now, we've done probably 20 festivals. We opened up for Andy Frasco twice.
Nice.
We got to play the Thunderbird Cafe. We played the Roxy-In, and we just...
Oh, yeah.
The history of it.
What was that show? The Roxy-In?
The Roxy-In was in...
I remember seeing that.
I can't even remember now.
Yeah. Who was that with?
We played with Sweet Earth and Habitat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And it was it was a really good gig, and then we finished it up with Thunderbird, and right now we just, everybody's kind of... We did a lot of gigs really fast, so we just needed a little break, So I think we're taking this winter now. I'm working with Glenn Struther to get some recordings done, and hopefully by Funky Fest or FarmJammaLamma we can record and release our first album.
Nice.
I think that's the one thing that we did is we went really fast and never took the time to record that album. So now
it happens to a lot of bands that perform a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of where we are now.
Such a different mode. Whenever we're playing a lot of shows, I'm totally focused on the sets and the live set, making sure everything's okay with that, and not really in a totally different world than writing and recording.
Yeah, it's a different aspect of it all, and you get a lot of I don't want to say insecurities, but you're like, I don't like that, I don't like that, or I got to practice this better, or I got to do that, and then all of a sudden you're like, well, it's been a year.
Yeah, it happened fast.
So now you just kind of got to sit down and put it down.
Yeah,
I think that's the mode I'm in right now.
What do you like doing more, recording it or playing it? Like the shows?
To be honest, I guess playing it. I like playing it better. I get in my head a lot about my own music, and I think that's the personal growth I'm going through right now.
Just having it, and then listening to it, and
you get down to record it, and you listen to it, and you're just like,
get those feelings of perfectionism, or is it good enough, or like
that's the word, perfectionism, and I battle with that a lot in everything that I do. Like, I think if you see me on the field for live sound, if there's one thing wrong, I'll sprint across the field to go fix it, and I think it's a blessing and a curse, I know I do everything as well as I can, but sometimes you gotta not be the perfectionist and just kind of accept it, and release some things, and I think that's
100%. Yeah, I've always thought that's how you get the most growth too, is by, not dwelling on one particular, not obsessing over one thing for a really long time, but instead moving on to another project, and then, applying the things you learned from the first project.
Yeah, exactly.
I was thinking about this idea of lines. Wait, no, this is like line of ideas that you have in your head. And there's like a good one somewhere in there every so often, every couple ideas. But, you're not going to get to the good idea, like the really good idea, unless you cycle through, 3 more ideas. And then you get to an idea that's some ideas just come together really naturally and quickly.
Yeah.
Have you experienced that where like you might have a song come together really quickly?
Definitely. The last song so the Sean Howard Orchestra, with the history too, has been kind of based on songs that I've written with other bands. It started with Sassafras Assassins during the Brown days, and then the Wile E. Coyotes when my first run in Pittsburgh. They were all based around these 6 songs that I wrote. But every project I put together evolves these songs to a whole different level. You know what I mean? But the Sean Howard Orchestra, before the Roxy-In, actually happened in this room that we're talking in. I came up with a progression, and I ended up calling it Digital Nomad. So me and Chris worked on it for a couple days, came up with a little idea, and then we brought the band together. It was that feeling of just being completely natural, Justin Benzino, he's a saxophone player at the time. He's like, "What if we try this?" And then Jill Marie, she's on acoustic guitar and vocalist. She's like, "What if we put bongos in the beginning?" You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there wasn't any friction between any of us. Every time somebody said something, we implemented it, and it just came out to be one of the most beautiful songs I think that I can say we wrote that I didn't write.
That's even more awesome when it happens when you're working with a group of people, because I've had it happen individually where I'll have an idea for a song and then it kind of unfolds very naturally and almost like it writes itself.
Yeah.
Every so often, you come across one of those ideas, but when you get to do it as a group, we had a couple songs like that on our the full band album we did called Sprout, where we got together and it just, after a night, the whole thing was kind of arranged and then we kind of just tuned it from there. But, it's not like that with every idea. Some ideas I feel like I really have to fight with and wrestle with to kind of mold it into something. And
that's sometimes when you need to take a minute, like listen to it and be like, okay, if that friction's there, let it go, like move on to something else, or just, be aware of that friction.
Yeah. Just, like you're fighting against something that might be, and if you put it down and move on to something else, you'll eventually come across one of those projects that comes together easy.
Yeah. Being in a band it can wreck you mentally sometimes, like you can get so into it, and then when you get so into it, you like overdwell or overthink on things, or you cannot work hard enough, and then then all of a sudden that's when that year thing comes up. You're like, okay, now I'm obviously not putting enough effort into this because it's not friction. Now I just need to work harder, Right. I mean?
Yeah. Like I'm going to work really hard on this song, but I've been working on it for like 6 months and haven't done anything else or something like that. There's definitely a balance there between putting the appropriate amount of effort into something and overthinking it. Yeah. That's tough to balance. It's tougher for some people too. Like I know a lot of people that are really talented. They produce a lot of ideas, but they are too perfectionistic to finish them. Yeah. And therefore nobody gets to enjoy their musicality.
Right. Yeah. They don't get to share it.
Yeah.
It's I'm going through a thing right now. Kind of your first episode of this podcast, you listed like 7 things that you want to like really focus on to fix. And I think I did that for myself going into this winter. Like the core values of yourself. Almost, and it's like now it's like music shouldn't be as stressful. I think the musicality, like making an album, shouldn't be as stressful as I've made it for so long. Yeah. Now, and so I think I'm working with Glenn Strother now for Glenn Strother project, and kind of gave him full rights of just being like, I'm gonna work on my own, but I'm gonna come over to your studio, and we'll put down what we got ready, and then walk away from it, and then like but make sure I keep adding stuff to it and then it moves forward. I think that's our plan this winter.
Nice.
So we'll see.
Looser. Yeah, it's funny that it's the crazy summer season. I wonder how many other people that are involved in music have similar thoughts after that season's over. Like, I gotta straighten some things out. Need to like realign my life.
In a good way, it's
in a great way.
Being in the music industry, it's a grind, and if anybody tells you otherwise, then they need to tell us the secret on how it's not a grind, but like if you want to be active and you want to be busy, you're going to be traveling, you're going to be driving around a lot, and you're going to be busy, hectic, and that's kind of the part of what it is.
There's a lot more chaos than in a normal job. Where it's the same, well, there's chaos in other jobs for sure, but a lot of unexpected things and a lot of moving around. It's not like you're going to the same place every day.
But we do it for the love of music. I mean, like the joy and benefit of music though are the things that the surprises out of it. Like you go to
it's way different.
Every event you go to, you're not going to be like, I know exactly how this night's going to go. And the emotions that you get off of it are worth it for that. I think we're using the grind. They're like the terms of the work that go into this industry a little more negatively than we need to. It is chaos and it's hard. But like that's why
it's just the give and
what
take. It costs. Yeah,
and flow.
Because ultimately, it's there's a fun. The social aspect of music is really great too. I think. When you're playing events, people are there. Everybody wants to have a good time. My entire social life now is constructed around people I've met in music and people that I play with and work with and do stuff like that. People that are interested in the same things as me. And considering all that, it's a good payoff.
Yeah. I think too, like hopefully like listen to this story too, and the support that the people give to the bands, I think is another reason why we stay in this industry too. You know, like, I mean, we'll always say, like, the bands need more support. The bands need more support. But, like, when you go through a whole summer season and you go to all these different events and you see all the different people that are coming that don't know how to play instruments or do know how to play but still want to support their friends or whatever, I mean, that's mind-blowing, you know?
Yeah.
You know, you go, like, Farm Jam, for example, you see, like, 1,000 people that are just coming to the same place every weekend, same time of the year, because they know that it's just going to be you know, resurrecting almost, you know, or like rejuvenating is the word I was going for. It just like rejuvenates you every year, you know?
Yeah. And that place is extra special. Just it has, like, you know, the strongest sense of community out of any, well, yeah. It's just like, although now that I've been going to more of these smaller ones, which, you know, like Larry Palooza, Garefest, they're also tight knit, you know, everybody I just feel very much more connected to people there than at Bonnaroo or something.
Right. Yeah. Well, Farm Jam's been doing this for a long time, and I think they've become the standard of how people should treat people at a festival. You know, even from the venue down to the bands to the people, and how the people treat the bands.
For sure.
You know, it's just there's just all but family and love, I feel like, at Farm Jam.
Yeah.
You know, I can't say that's the only place you feel that, you know, like,
right.
but they've just been doing it for so long on the same consistent level.
Yeah.
You know, it's just everyone gets that feeling at Farm Jam, I think, and you hope to feel it at other places.
100%. Yeah, that was one of the, you know, I felt that very, very strongly, and like obviously after the first year I went, yeah, it was amazing. It was just such a palpable feeling of yeah.
And then you drink the chartreuse and you're like, whoa.
Yeah, I would love to talk to Kevin or Jody or both of them about Farm Jam and the origins of that. That would be an interesting conversation.
Yeah.
I've talked to him a little bit about it. I left my boots at the barn last year.
Oh no.
Man, last year I didn't sleep in my tent at all. I slept in the barn 100%. It's the first year.
It's not hard.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to make a habit out of it and abuse that option, but it was nice.
I think it's kind of a first come, first serve. You know, if you're playing Farm Jam and there's a couch open, it's you have the right to it as much as anybody else does.
Yeah, it was like,
they hope you take it, actually.
oh man, I was down there jamming late, and then I just passed out, and I woke up and was shaded, was not getting baked out of the sun.
Yeah.
I was like, this is nice. I like down here. Yeah, it's not going to be the same without Starship next year, unless they come back and play.
Yeah, we'll see.
Maybe they will.
Benny's in LA now, correct?
He's moving in March.
In March.
And I think Chris Potter is too.
Okay.
And I think Spencer, the guitar player, is going a little bit later. So I don't know what the plan is with Starship, but yeah, I was talking to Benny a little bit. He wants to do an episode and talk about stuff.
Yeah, he'd be a good he'd be a good guest.
Yeah, I saw him.
He's got a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
Watching that band develop was something too. You know, it's like,
yeah,
you see it, they're good at, like, a good example of hard work. You know, like, those guys got together and just slammed it, you know, and like they just did all the things you should do as a band, you know, and then you saw how well known they were in the city, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just they're all so talented in their individual rights, and, you know, all the work they had to put in to get to that level individually, but yeah, watching them is always like mind-blowing for me. It's like, honestly, some of the best performances I see anywhere, like from any band, and I think a lot of it has to do with my ability to watch them up close in the barn, which is unique to Farm Jam. But yeah, that's always like a extremely inspiring / discouraging performance. Like,
I think the thing with Starship is the confidence they bring to the stage. You know, like,
yeah,
like they're not worried about what they're gonna play. They know how they're gonna play it, and then they play it better than I think they expected to whenever they play live. You know what I mean? This is
crazy.
You know, the way they move on stage, and I mean Benny's stage presence is just by far probably the best. You know, of a lot of bass players in the city.
Oh yeah, he's one of my favorites. I guess that's I'm usually I have to very consciously try to not be thinking about stuff too much, because usually I'm just in my own zone, and like very much the opposite of the way Benny performs. But you know, if I'm jamming by myself, I'll do that kind of stuff and it'll be fun.
Yeah.
But I have yet to really access that wild man.
Yeah.
Inside.
I feel the same way.
Not that everybody needs to be that.
Yeah.
You know, you don't. But you know, sometimes I want to do that, and I usually in a show I'm too focused on what I'm playing, partially because you know, I am probably not as well prepared and learned as some you know, once you have that confidence of like, you know exactly what you have to do, you don't have to think about it as much. You can focus more on the experience.
Yeah, I had that the last time I played Thunderbird. Chris Moretti wasn't available for the gig, so I ended up playing bass and singing for the whole set.
Oh, whoa.
And it was the first time that I sang a whole set while playing bass, you know?
Oh, man.
So I was pretty anxious up to the gig, you know, but actually I didn't even really know, I guess I didn't know until the day before, for sure, 100%. And then
did you get some practice time in?
I just did it, man, you know? And I think that's a time where you have to like just tell yourself like, you got this, you know? And I've played bass a bunch. Like I kind of prefer playing bass over guitar sometimes.
So you have experience singing and playing bass?
Not the singing part though. That was the first time I sang while playing bass for the whole set, you know?
Wait, do you usually sing?
I usually sing, yeah. But I don't usually play bass.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a
rhythms are different.
It's different, yeah.
That would mess me up, because singing and playing is one of those things that I kind of have to like, if I'm doing anything other than, you know, very straight rhythm, I have to. That's something I got to practice very slowly, and then once the connection gets made, then I can do it like without thinking. But like if I just by surprise had to be like, all right, you got to play drums and sing, and I'd be like, that would not go well.
Yeah,
for me.
yeah. Well, I didn't have a choice. You know?
Yeah.
I didn't have a choice.
You know, I guess I could probably adjust things to be simpler if I had to, but yeah, that would be nerve wracking.
Yeah,
but you know, I haven't really been doing much vocals anyway, so.
Yeah, it went well. It was the first song we started with Montana, and I remember I jumped into the chorus too early in the middle of the second verse, and I like just froze, and I looked at Jill, and she's just like, and like sang the line that we needed to sing. I was like, oh yeah, that's it. And then the rest of the set went pretty smooth, you know. But,
that's good. Sometimes if I make something an error like that, I either have two reactions when I make like a mistake like that. I'll either start laughing and get back on track, and I don't. Yeah, it's either laughing or I'm like, oh shit, and then it kind of can like throw me off and like start to feel like anxiety about it.
Yeah.
But more lately, if I make an obvious mistake, I usually just laugh.
Just laugh it off.
Which is a good
catch up. Yeah.
A good healthy reaction to have to mistakes.
Yeah. I think there was, you know, you build up a lot up in your head whenever like Thunderbird just opened up. You know, the show's still a newer band, you know, so we wanted to do really well.
Yeah.
You know, and then like in the first song you made that mistake. Normally, like years ago, I would have had anxiety about it. You know, I'd be like, oh man, you know, be like, shit, why'd I do that? You know, or like get mad, but you know, through the growth of being a musician, all I had to do was look over at Jill, and then she just let you know, you get that look, you know, and you smile, and then you just jump back up to the microphone and just keep going, you know.
Yeah, and it's
at the end of the day, it's just a song. You know?
Yeah, and it's easy to forget that, you know, I know my songs very well. Pretty much nobody listening is going to know the songs as well, and it's probably not going to, they'd have to be paying close attention to notice, and they'd have to know the songs really well to notice.
Yeah.
And it's like that tiny 1 second is not going to be what somebody remembers.
No, exactly.
You're gonna remember if they had a good time.
Yeah, and even if they know your set, you know, like the story of it is Sean's playing bass. He's never played bass and sang before.
Yeah,
right. Like, if they have that expectation for you to sing your songs perfect, then they should know you're not always playing the bass. So there's probably gonna be a blemish somewhere.
True.
There it was, and they'd probably like that more because they're like, okay, now the song's a little bit different than I normally heard it. You know, and
proper respect none of us are perfect Sean for having that versatility. And trying it and going for it.
Yeah. It was one of the most fun sets I think I played.
Really?
Yeah, it was a good time.
Nice. Yeah, Thunderbird sounds nice on stage. Or it did when we played there.
Yeah.
It's such a solid stage.
Like, big room, you know.
Big room, but there's no resonance in the stage, which is nice. Like no bassy like boominess on stage.
Yeah.
Which can be a little bit disorienting sometimes. I don't know if you've ever played on a stage and it sounds like the notes you're playing are out of tune, but it's some kind of psychoacoustic effect.
Yeah.
Have you ever had that? And I like tune my guitar. I'd be like, no, my guitar's in tune, but like, or I'll be playing a solo and I'll like play a little bit of it like a half step down and not notice for like 4 beats or something. And I'd be like, oh no.
Yeah.
I always sound like shit out front.
I think, you know, the biggest thing is I always try to make sure is the monitors, you know, like it's hard, you know, to get good monitors sometimes at venues, you know, like even on the best stages, you know, like it's either gets rushed or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, and I think if you have the monitors, that resonance kind of minimalizes itself.
Yeah.
You know?
Have you ever, do you know anything about these personal monitoring systems? That's like, it's like a stage that goes in a box, plug the snake into the back of the box that goes to the front of house. And then on the other front, that's where you plug the mic inputs. And then there's these controllers that get like light piped out or something. They get connected to that box, and then each individual, you know, there might be 4 boxes, and people can control their monitor mix for headphones that they're wearing, and it's not affecting what the front of the house is getting.
I mean, I know, like with the Q, for example, you have an app called Q Mix or U Mix or something like that, and you can control your own monitor mix, like with your phone, with your iPad, or with something like that.
Oh, okay.
And I know I think you can get a box that's similar like that, but
the Q, that's a Q.
This is a Q, yeah. Alan Q. Yeah,
it's a digital mixer he's looking at here. Is that what you bring to?
I'll either bring this or I have it's bigger version. I have it out in the other room. But most events that I run, I don't use more than 16 channels.
Yeah.
So I found lately I can use a smaller board, which makes these like front of house easier setup.
Yeah.
But what's awesome about these boards is not only is it a live board, so I can run a live show with it. I can run a USB to my DAW, which is digital audio workstation, and Logic is what I use, for example. And I can get all 16 channels multi-tracked onto Logic.
Yeah.
Now it also has an external hard drive input, so I can hook up a hard drive to it and get 18 tracks to that. So I can do the 16 channels that I have for live, plus if I want to do a monitor mix or if I want to do a recording there.
Yeah.
So I can record twice and do a live show with one console.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And
it's got good pickups in it too, so it's you know, it sounds real good.
Multi-track recording. That's so nice. Whenever I can get my hands on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Did you ever listen to the Garefest video at all?
I did, man. And it's like the thing, like you said about it, is like the pickups are good, you know. So like each track, you can mix it really well.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you gotta do their secondhand mixings and stuff like that. But you know, the quality you get back, I think, is pretty stellar.
Yeah, it was great to work with.
Yeah.
I guess let's talk about. We're sitting in this used to be church.
Oh, we didn't even talk about this yet.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
This is
We are in a old church in Knoll, PA. We eventually we got this in the beginning, you know, to make it a studio and a living environment. It's an older building, so the living environment part's not too susceptible to living here now, which is probably why I ended up in Ohio. You know, like I was like not living here, and I was like, well, what am I gonna do? You know, Ohio's only like 45 minutes down the road, so that worked out. You know, but this is a 2-story. Big open space building with one small studio that we're sitting in now. We have a large room out on the other side of the wall with 4 monitor mixes, drum kit, keyboard. We got lights hung up on the wall so you can light it up at nighttime to get more of a live show atmosphere. And then another smaller room, I guess Studio B. We'll call that one Studio B, which will be better for wintertime, you know, to keep it warm, that kind of thing. And then in the future, there's a basement that is another probably 400 square feet. You know,
that's big down there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that middle control room partition that's just naturally there.
Yeah. We're not sure exactly the longevity of what this project's going to be, but it is a call out to people that are interested in if they want to get out of town and come track somewhere, or just to come work on some ideas, or just to get away from your normal space and have an all-nighter here to, jam all night. But the community is pretty open to what we're doing, and, we originally wanted to call it the Shome, but I think we'll probably just continue with the church,
Oh, the Shome, nice. Yeah, so how much experience do you have doing like renovation like this?
Yeah, it's good. And, myself personally, when we were doing the digital project, we took over a church in McKees Rocks. And we put a whole lot of work into that to find after a year, it was just we would never be able to catch up to the building. It was just too much work. Here, the renovations that it needs is more just like, some wall patching, and like, running water lines and stuff like that. But I would say with a team that we'd be able to do, but I'm not going to say I'm the professional construction remodelist, of this.
Yeah, like how much do you have to learn as you go with something like this?
Yeah, it's pretty much all of it. And fundraising and like understanding how to keep it affordable. I think that's our biggest thing right now is the project worth it versus the debt that it could create.
Yeah.
And I guess that's with any project really, but it's what we're going through right now. But in its form at the moment, it's workable. We have all the snakes ran and like all the mics ran and everything that you could do a multi-track run, but
yeah, I've often
because
thought
you can give a review of the place, afterwards,
Oh yeah. I've thought about like, what if I just had a space like kind of like this where it's like very basic. It's just like roof, walls, like electricity. Just like a place just purely for music.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely something I'm always thinking about. At some point in the future, have some kind of recording space / living space.
Yeah, and I think that's what this project is right now. It's pretty affordable for what is the potential of the project. But yeah, just saying, I'm interested to see what the interest level will be for a project like this.
Yeah.
Like the home studios and studios are everywhere now. So it's
with that big room in there. I mean, if a band wanted to do like a live performance video, I think that would be there's a lot of room in there to work with.
Yeah.
And you could have it all mixed, and if someone wanted some kind of premium video content with audio and sound and stuff, good sound, and that's like I think that's what I'm seeing in that.
It's the vision, yeah. I mean, it's going to be available for anything. Even if a singer songwriter wants to come down and do an acoustic track, it's big enough space. It's not that bouncy. You can get a good mix out of it.
Yeah,
you never know.
So how far are you into you said 2 years you guys had the space?
This will be actually this space just a year. It's been about a year that we've been here. I think we came in last winter.
Would you have to
for a year? It's not bad. But
yeah. Anything you had to do immediately when you got here?
4 truckloads of trash removal.
Oh.
There was kids. I think kids were doing graffiti inside, so we had secure the building and stuff like that. I think it was abandoned for a while. But after the trash was out, it was just scrubbing and getting it to a point where it's it's
cleaning it up,
able to be in here.
Yeah.
And I think we've done a good job of that so far.
Yeah. Got it. How long did it take you to get to like a workable environment where you could record?
I'd probably say probably not too long, about a month and a half. I mean, we got everything moved out, and then we kind of moved in first in a living way. But the position I have it now, so we have a separate control room, which is the room we're in now. And then we snaked it through the wall, and everything in the other room is all set up multi-track. But I just got to that point a couple months ago, because it was just constantly moving things and like getting everything organized and stuff like that.
Yeah. That must be a big job, just getting the stuff out.
Yeah.
4 truckloads.
Ooh,
yeah. We my parents moved, sold my childhood house, and I didn't really realize I had as much stuff as I did there, and neither did my mom. So I was even just that was like a lot of stuff. I can only imagine, and that it's I guess it's a little different when it's not personal stuff that you've got to get rid of.
Yeah, it's easier to discard it that way, you
Yeah.
know, but then you go through the moving things around part, and then when you bring your own stuff in, you're like, well, I don't like it here. I like it over there. I don't like it there. I like it over here, you know? And then
Yeah, it's fun setting up a new space.
Yeah.
I always like it. But yeah, there's does require a lot of moving and lifting and stuff like that.
commitment, you know, and just like, I think the biggest thing of the, you know, this type of project is, do I want to continue with it or do I not want to continue with it? You know, and I'd be not telling the truth if I'd say I'm not still in that position. You know,
Yeah.
like anytime you're in a business endeavor, you know, like how long can you continue doing it? You know, but I think where we're at right now, it's worth it to get the word out that this space is available. And like, you know, you came down to check it out today. You know, I'm glad we're doing this podcast here.
Good to
You know,
see
this is a good project to start here.
Yeah.
You know, and then, you know, let's get the word of mouth out there and see how it goes.
Yeah.
You know?
You have how could people find out about it if they just contact you directly?
Right now, I haven't put too much out there.
Yeah.
You know, so they can't.
Right.
We haven't really done anything yet, but I think over this, you know, we'll probably keep doing some more work over the winter. We got to see what it's going to be like in here temperature wise.
Yeah.
You know, and like if it's going to be too cold over the winter, I don't want to set things up for the winter time
Yeah.
and then have to shut down. You know.
Right.
But,
So kind of just getting operations going a little bit more.
Yeah.
And then get the word out.
we're talking about making a Facebook page, you know, and doing a little more of the commercial thing, going with like Soundbar Studios, you know, and then just offering a few different packages or something like that, or keeping it open ended. Like, what do you need? Hit us up, you know, and like talking to people project by project basis, you know.
Yeah. Seems like in that position, a lot of personal outreach would probably be pretty effective.
Yeah.
Just reaching out to every musician you know multiple times. You know, checking in with people a lot. Just, you need any recordings or
And just setting up some jams, you know.
Yeah.
I think that's one of my next steps too, is like in this balance of doing live sound and being a musician. I think I also need to use this space as like inviting people to come and just play some music, you know, and see what comes from that, you know. And then you know, people hear that, you know, you make some simple jams, and that's what people hear, and they'll be like, where'd that come from, you know? And they're like, oh, I want to go down and do it, you know.
It would be and I guess once you have some material that you've recorded here, and make sure you can have you know, an example to kind of shop around.
Yeah.
Or just so people can hear it.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, I'm kind of out of stuff to talk about.
We've talked about a lot.
Yeah, I did. So I never know how to end these things. How should we do this? Do you have anything else you want to say?
Just want to thank everybody for listening, and reach out. Let's talk music.
Yeah, this is Sean Howard. He's always at Farm Jam. He's always a lot of places. Fall City Pub now.
Fall City Pub.
Sweet. Okay. Well, thanks, Sean.